Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about the moon square or opposition to South Node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart that were a little bit concise. Some people may have referred to them as snappy, so what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, a first thing up is, well, if you have the moon square or opposite the south node in a natal chart, there may be difficulty in terms of meeting the need, which is the moon, to do what you feel comfortable with, which is your comfort zone is the south node, and they may be, they may be in conflict. You can have What's interesting is that the moon and the south node have certain similarities in terms, because the moon can be about what we feel comfortable doing, what we feel at home with. Now the south node is like the comfort zone, and so there can be a certain conflict with this. Let's say, like in my case, I have the moon in Gemini square the south node in my natal chart. Now, the energies, they have certain similarity because Gemini and Virgo are both cerebral. They're both ruled by Mercury. It's mercurial energy. But the south node in Virgo is more about punctuality and reliability, and being very punctilious with details. And Gemini is more restless energy. It's about not wanting to be pinned down and on an unconscious level. So you have a lot of you still have the strong disparity between the two energies. Now also too, there may be a conflict as well between the unconscious side, which is the moon, and what you feel you're naturally proficient in, which is the south node. So this is where you have where the energy, where the relationship between the two is not positive. You can have if you have, like, say, Leo and Aquarius involved, you have an opposition, you would have a strong disparity, in that unconscious side. Say if the moon is in Leo and the south node is in Aquarius. So the moon in Leo is about, that grandeur impression, about, standing out, shining, wanting attention, recognition. And if you have the south node in Aquarius, where you feel comfortable at, could be just the opposite, being more unobtrusive, about working more, in group-related matters, doing things that benefit many, even humanity, less about the attention being garnered. So it's really, you would have, the strong difference in the energy, with the moon and the south node in that manner. Now, also too, the past, which is the south node, and the emotional needs, which is the moon, are not in harmony if you have the moon square or opposite the south node in a natal chart. It could be where people that were prominent in your past, may be somehow conflicting with what your emotional needs are at this point in time, and or at some point in time, I should say. Um, the thing is, I mean, you could have, let's say, the moon is in Aries. Those emotional needs, may be tied in with being pioneering, innovative, expressing leadership, prowess, and ability. It may be doing, it could be expressing initiative, enterprise, the, or it could be simply, doing something that is tied in with the zodiac sign Aries, more of like a field, or connected with it, such as doing something with the military, or welding, carpentry, arson investigation, surgery, professions that involve fire, as some examples. And another thing too about the moon square or opposite the south node in the natal chart, as far as how it may manifest in the natal chart, it can be where you have, you might be difficulty balancing, activities, with people that were prominent in your past, which is the south node, and those you simply feel close to home with. which is the moon, you may have, one or the other may be taking precedence, or, in some cases, you may be, trying to do a lot of activities from people that were prominent in your past, and then the people that are close to home, are put to the side. Or what could happen is, you may be trying to do, activities with people from the past, which is the south node, and then, you may get interrupted by those that you're simply close to home with now, which is the moon. Now, let's say, let's say if the south node is in Libra as an example, those people from the past, maybe, Libra, sun, moon, or ascendant people, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people, that are very charming, diplomatic, tactful, cooperative, compromising, refined, artistic, fair, equitable, as some examples. Now, also too, the mother and family, which is the moon, may be averse to those, natural built-in abilities you have, which is, the south node. Now, we take, going, back to the south node, like in my case, I got the south node in Virgo. There's the natural built-in abilities, maybe tied in with analytical ability, being able to organize, compartmentalize, seeing the details, editing, proofreading, being punctilious with it, just being able, to dissect and analyze. And, the thing is, it could even be doing something, associated with Virgo, so like a field associated with Virgo, whether it could be data entry, working with something with analytics, statistics, extrapolating data, health and fitness, as some other examples. Now, also too, these aspects may be inauspicious, in terms of dealing, with the public, which is the moon, in the first half of one's life, and which is the south node. Let's say if the south node is in Aries, that first half, of life, maybe one where you express a lot of aggressiveness or outspokenness, assertiveness, may not always go over well with the public if you have any dealings with the public at that time. Aries, south node Aries could be acerbic energy as well. So, when you look at that, and, being very, impulsive. And another thing too, about the moon square or opposite the south node, could also be expressed in those overdeveloped and redundant qualities, which is the south node could have an adverse effect on the connections with moon-related people. And when I say moon-related people, that can include, of course, home family members, people you're close to home with. It could be prominent women in one's life, and maybe people that are in, some moon-connected field or profession, whether it's doing something with, cooking, restaurant work, real estate, home, remodeling, renovation, as some examples. And the overdeveloped redundant qualities, say if the south node is in Aquarius, that could be, just doing things constantly, in an unorthodox manner, just for the sake of being unique and being different. The south node in Virgo can be over-analysis, like seeing the Dwad within the Dwad in an astrology chart as an example. And also too, another way the moon square or opposite the south node may be expressed is could be where, people that are difficult, there may be difficulty in really being emotionally, which is the moon vested, in going away, which is the south node, from the negative qualities connected with the south node. And if the south node is in Capricorn site, those negative qualities may be tied in with being overly conventional or orthodox, being too serious, undemonstrative, being cold, callous, overly rigid with things. It could be too where you have, The negative, that negative energy of the south node, again, may have that adverse effect, on, the people you're close to home with, home family members, you know, moon related people in general. The south node is in Pisces, say, those negative qualities connected with the south node may be being overly elusive, deceptive, duplicitous, you know, resorting to escapist tactics, um, being too passive, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.